What is going on, guys? This is Andrew with the Adequate Wargamers. And I know, just be mad at me all you want. We haven't done a video or a battle report in a long time. I know, be mad. And I know you guys, some of you have been looking forward to, like, 7th edition Necrons. And I know you'll be even more mad at me when I say that I've played like 9 games with them so far. And I have not done a battle report. But I am here to do kind of another anything buts, because we did start that, but we never actually went anywhere with it. So I'm here to do the second official anything buts video, where we just kind of talk about anything that, the wargaming related, so painting, tactics, reviews, things like that. It is just me today. I mean, everyone else is either busy with school or life or things like that, which is kind of the main reason why we haven't been able to do battle reports. Just because, I mean, Azaria has had school and work, and a lot of things in her life are changing right now, like moving into a new house, things like that. Casey's been working hard at school. He's trying to get done with it as soon as he can. And Steven has either been sick or he's been busy with a lot of different things. So I'm pretty much the only one that, even with my job, I'm actually working more hours, which, that's good because the new Newcron codex. Like, even with my more hours, or the more hours that I'm working, I set aside time every week to go up to the shop and play a game. So I don't really have an excuse as to why I haven't done a battle report, other than I'm lazy. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be honest with you guys. But also, I don't like being the only one in the battle report all the time, because I know you guys would rather see Azaria and Steven and, all of them, but I don't even think Steven's done more than 2 games with the new codex. He hasn't played a lot at all, and that could be for any number of reasons. But I know you guys don't like seeing me all the time. In fact, a lot of you probably just don't even like me. So, but if you're watching this and you now know that it's only me just talking, and you're still watching, then I'll assume that you don't have a problem with me. So we're good. So yeah, I want to talk about a couple of things. First and foremost, a couple of you have actually asked where we're located, so you guys can come and challenge us to play a battle report, do anything like that. I'm not going to give you any addresses or anything, but we are in Virginia, in the US, in Newport News, and the store that we go up to, we don't have our own shop or anything like that. We go to a comic book store, and it's called World's Best Comics. So if you are in Newport News, Virginia, or in the area or near us, or want to travel here, and you have a GPS and can look up where World's Best Comics is, then we can meet up there on preferably like a Saturday, or, sometime during the week. I'm usually off in the afternoons, and we can do a battle report. If you want to challenge one of us specifically, we'll try and arrange that. Just send us, if you have a YouTube account, send us a message in YouTube. Kind of let us know if you are in the area, what you're playing, what you want to play, which one of us you want to challenge, things like that. And we'll try and get that settled away. So I think it's pretty cool that some people want to actually challenge us. That makes us feel kind of official, even though we're not really official, I guess. So we haven't had a challenger yet, except for Eric. Technically, Eric did challenge us, but like he sent us a message on YouTube, and I'm like, wait a minute, are you that one guy that goes up there anyway? And he's like, oh yeah, that's right, that's where I've seen you before. And I'm like, duh. But yeah, so that's squared away. Newport News, Virginia. I'm not gonna tell you where we live, obviously. That's stupid. But that's the shop that we go to. It's a pretty nice shop. They have a lot of stuff in the area that other shops don't have, and they have an entire top floor with all the gaming tables. And actually, while I'm on that note, I have invested a lot into terrain. So I have quite a few pieces of Battlefield in a box, and I also invested into a fat mat. So I actually have my personal frontline gaming mat, which it is awesome. I have broken it out in 2 games so far. It is worth it. It is definitely awesome. So in the next couple battle reports we'll have some really nice terrain, some pretty nice terrain. And actually, to stem on from that, what I've been doing in my spare time while I'm not filming battle reports, obviously, because why would I do that? I've actually been painting. I know a lot of you guys are just like, paint your armies! I'm like, okay. The new Newcron codex has really reinvigorated me to paint more. So I actually have a few things here that I would like to show you guys, just so you know I am painting. Like this right here is my obelisk. I don't know if you guys knew that I had one of these, but I do. And I spent a lot of time on this, but I think it looks awesome. I know you guys probably can't get a good light on it right now, but it does look pretty amazing, and I look forward to trying it out on the tabletop. And then, oh, this is probably my favorite model right here that I painted, the new Newcron Overlord model. This thing is so much better than, I don't know if I can get good, there we go. This thing's awesome. Like, this is the coolest model ever. Like, this is always my warlord, pretty much, and I always, like, because of his war scythe, I always give him the Void Reaper, because I love that relic. And then, oh, I've probably spent about, I don't even want to say, a good amount of money on miniatures since the new codex came out. I only had 3 of these, and 2 heavy destroyers, and a destroyer lord. But I went out and bought 2 more boxes of destroyers. I actually invested into flayed ones, too. I have 20 flayed ones. So my entire destroyer cult is painted. And I've played it 3 times. And it is by far one of the most fun formations in the book, I have to say. Destroyers... But, and then, of course, to go along with those, I had Praetorians, who I finally have painted now. And I actually went out and bought a second box of these guys, because before they were, like, why would you bring them? Just bring Wraiths. There's no point. So, like, and then so I have my other squads almost done being painted. I'm working on them. And then I have, this is one of my flayed ones. I have 20 of these guys. These guys are so much fun. I love what they did with them. Like, they made me actually go, this was the one thing in the codex I did not own in the previous codex, because I collected everything, whether it was good or bad, except for these guys, because I'm like, these guys are expensive, and they suck, and no thank you. Oh, this guy. I actually have every named character that I own, I have painted, which is another big deal. So this is my personal paint scheme on Illuminator Ceres. So he looks pretty awesome, I do have to say. And then, oh, of course, how can I forget, my Wraiths are finally coming along pretty nicely. I gave him kind of a rusted look, and then on some of his talons there, he's got some blood, because he was, you know, rending through your armor. So they turned out pretty good. Got a nice view there. So I'm working on it. My army's coming along pretty nicely. I'm not really painting Tyranids at all. It's mainly just everything Necrons. I'm trying to get as much of it done as I can. My Ghost Arc is actually done, except for these guys. I gotta prime these guys, paint them, and glue them in there, but my actual arc itself is done, and it looks awesome. But really not looking forward to painting another one, because I need another one. But I actually got another Doom Scythe, too. So I've gotten a lot of stuff for Necrons. And I'm not gonna do, like, you know, this is what's changed in the new codex. Because I mean, it's been so long, you guys probably know what everything in the codex does. Like, everyone should know what everything in the codex does by now. I will let you guys know how I feel about it. And I think, who is it, Hecatrix? You were just like, oh, Andrew, that new nerfed Newcron codex. No. Absolutely not. Like, I think it was it Craig? Let's see, Riku. Riku, you actually asked what my opinion was on the new codex, and I actually responded, I'm like, yeah, I'll totally do that review, and I never got around to it. Then, yeah, and Craig, you said you wanted to see how my playstyle has changed. Oh my god, has my playstyle changed? You have no idea. First off, you guys are still awesome for watching. Like, you guys are some of our most dedicated viewers, and we appreciate it. I don't even know at this time, I think we have like over 1,200 subscribers. That's crazy. I didn't think this channel would go that far, and it's still growing every day. So to everyone who watches our videos and enjoys us, thank you. We do certainly thank you. You help, because you make us want to do this more. You know, actually getting subscribers and things like that, that's good. That's a good feeling when you run a YouTube channel. And I know that a lot of you, I've seen a lot of your comments on many wargaming videos, and I actually watch their videos frequently too. And I do want to clear up that this is not a job for us. We don't make money off of this. So I mean, we don't have the fully painted armies, the awesome terrain, you know, we don't have our own shop, and we can't pop out battle reports every day or every week even, because sometimes things come up we can't play that week, or things like that. So just, I do want to clarify that. So we do try our best, and hopefully this week, Dustin and his Khorne demons, I don't know how excited he is for the new Khorne Demonkin codex. We played a game, and I actually lost. It's one of the 2 games I've lost with new Necrons. But he actually got one of the major rules wrong, and it actually, we actually found out that in the new codex, it's been leaked that apparently they can't take greater rewards, and they can't take relics, they can't take anything, so it's literally you're buying that bloodthirster. And in the game that I played against him, he had the Grimoire, and he didn't know that you couldn't cast it on himself. So he was running around with a 3+ invulnerable save with a 4+ feel no pain from the greater rewards, and I physically couldn't kill him. And the strength D was like, whop, 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 my overlord, I challenge, whop, dead. So I'm just like, I don't really want to fight that again, but then I realized that GW did do something to make it so that, yes, he kills anything he touches, but he's not unkillable at the same time, you know what I mean? So, but also I do know that Dustin is building his Harlequins, which, I mean, I don't like Eldar, or anything related to Eldar typically, as far as rules-wise, because I'm just like, why does he have so many special rules? Why? But I am actually interested to see how they do on the table. They seem like a pretty fun army, and Dustin would really like probably to get a battle report in with them, so I'll probably try playing it with Necrons, and then maybe even my Tyranids, see how that goes. Otherwise, I mean, we should have some battle reports coming out soon, hopefully. Azaria, when she heard about the Khorne Demonkin Codex, she thought that if there is one for Nurgle, which is probably going to be down the line, most likely, but that actually might make her want to play the game a bit more, because one of the big things she has with the game is that, I mean, she's playing Chaos Space Marines, which are not one of the top codexes. Just overall, there's very little synergy among units. There's very few, like, oh, this is really good. And then she, obviously, me, especially with the new codex, which she has not fought against yet, but even the old codex is like, Necrons are tough. That's what they are. That's what they do. And I also play Tyranids in a way that's rather difficult, especially for her to deal with. So it's the fact that she doesn't think she's a very good player, which I disagree. I think she is. She has a good hold on the game. She just doesn't like playing against me, because apparently what I bring is difficult to deal with, which I don't blame her. But she's gonna start trying to ease back into the game, hopefully, like practicing things like that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, all in all, I guess I should go ahead and tell you guys about the Necron Codex, what I feel about it. I'm not gonna do like, oh hey, you know, this is everything that's changed. No, I'm just gonna tell you what I think about it, and like my opinions personally on the matter. So, for one, I should probably lead up with a story of, if you guys watched our first Anything But's video, you know how I got into Necrons, and you guys know that I play 40k because Necrons. Necrons are my favorite army. I love them. I love the look. In fact, one of the first models I bought for them was a Doom Scythe. The flyers are the coolest thing Necrons have, in my opinion. I only have 2 Doom Scythes and 2 Night Scythes, but I would like to get more. And now that they're not like the cheesiest spam that they used to be, I think I could pull off a flyer-heavy army and not, you know, be called that guy for doing so. But the thing is that the old codex was bland. It was so boring. It was so poorly balanced internally. Praetorians, Lichguard, Flayed Ones, they all sucked. And they were all outshined by Wraiths in every single way. And then Overlords, the only real way to kit them out was with a War Scythe. And all of their upgrades, there was no thinking. It was just, these are the upgrades you should take for them. That's it. The Catacomb Command Barge was way too good. People just brought that. And that's it. There you go. Annihilation Barges, I mean, it was essentially Codex Annihilation Barges and Codex Night Scythes. That's pretty much what you were playing. Nothing else in the, like, even on a fun level. Destroyers weren't worth it. Tomb Blades definitely weren't worth it. Nothing was just worth playing, like, at all. Like, even on a fun level. And so that's why I started Tyranids. Because I wanted something to break up the monotony of Necrons. So I played something that is completely different in pretty much every way. No vehicles, psychic powers, monstrous creatures, you know, tiny gribblies, you know, so all that. That's why I started Tyranids as my second fun army. I mean, as I've played them, I've grown an appreciation for their fluff. They have some interesting stuff, but overall, they're not my favorite. Necrons is where it is. So, and, like, I was looking forward to the Necron Codex. There's a lot of things I wanted them to change. I wanted monoliths to get better. What else? I pretty much just wanted everything to be good. I wanted a reason to field other things. And when I saw some of the rumors, like Mind Shackle Scarabs being nerfed, you know, Tesla not working, but then also not getting anything else to make it more attractive, I mean, I was really, really distraught. Like, I was actually considering selling my Necrons, and not playing 40k anymore. I was going to sell all my armies and probably just focus on doing something else with my life. Which I didn't want to for you guys, because I do like running a YouTube channel. And I told Dustin this, and Dustin's like, man, it can't be that bad. I mean, what are the rumors? And I told him what Mind Shackle Scarabs do, and he was just like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, that's what they do. Yeah. And then I posted, like, on our Facebook group with, like, all the guys that go up to the shop, and all of them were just like, nah, once you get the Codex, you'll be fine, trust me, it's just the Codex jitters and everything. And I'm like, I mean, I've never received the new Codex while playing this game. I've only been playing for about a year and a half. And I'm like, if you guys say so, I got the Codex, I bought it. I haven't wanted to play Tyranids recently at all, because everything in the Necron book is good. That's the shortest way to put it. Everything is good. And there is not a codex out there that has better internal balance amongst itself. Because everything has a place, and everything does its job well, and it synergizes with the rest of the army very well. So, like, basically, like for HQs, the Cryptex and the Lords, in a standard combined arms detachment, sure, they take up an HQ slot now. That's good and bad. But the fact is that they're incorporating the formations into every single book. So that was a little new to me. I had no idea how the Decurion worked. And when I looked at reanimation protocols, I'm like, that's bull. Like, that sucks. Like, I don't like that. And, but then I actually looked at it, and I'm like, oh, so Cryptex are actually kind of a support HQ. Huh. Interesting. And then Lords are just tougher with better weapon options, which all the options are actually decent now. Void Blades, there's a reason to take them. War Scythes are properly, you know, costed. And it's like, I looked at the fact that you can just get a 4+ Feel No Pain easily across the army. That can be taken against instant death. So unless it is Strength D, everything in my army gets a save at all times. I'm like, that actually kind of represents the fluff a little bit better. And then there was some stories that I was reading about, like Imhotep, when he was fighting Helbricht of the Black Templars, I think? Was it Black Templars? I think so. And, like, he would get hit, and then, like, while he's fighting, his body would knit itself back together. And the Necron Codex was, oh no, my Overlord died. Okay, he's back up. That's it. That's all it was. Phylacteries didn't do what they represented in fluff. I mean, there's a lot of things that in the old book just didn't work, and the more I thought about it, the more I thought that the new reanimation protocols works better as far as fluff goes. So in Overlord, reanimating from every wound he takes makes a lot of sense. And then the phylactery, which is like this little tiny scarab thing that releases nanoscarabs all over you and helps repair your body, giving you it will not die. I'm just like, that does what it's supposed to do now. Yes! So overall, like, everything represents better now what it does in fluff. So, like, the HQs. I guess I should just start with the HQs. Of course, the Cryptek and the Lord. The Overlord is still not bad. He got cheaper, finally got a better stat line, so he hits Tactical Marines on 3s now, thank God. They took away most of our good saves, and I was upset about that, but when I've actually played the game and I realized that I'm actually tougher to kill than I was before, like, I don't know, that kind of makes up for it. In a lot of ways, that makes up for it. And then, what else was it? The Destroyer Lord. The Destroyer Lord, I was disappointed because he didn't get the weapon skill and ballistic skill upgrade. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, he's a Destroyer Lord, not Overlord. So I'm like, okay, makes sense. And then he's just as tough as he was, but he has access to phylacteries and phase shifters now. Yes. Thank you? Like, that alone, like, when I played against Dustin's Demons the first time with this new codex, or no, the second time with the new codex, he was using just a regular Bloodthirster. And my Destroyer Lord took him on, like, 4 rounds of close combat. I think he took a wound, and then he just, it will not died it off the next turn. But then the Bloodthirster rolled like 4 6s, which were all instant death, and I'm like, and he's dead. So, but I mean, come on. Like, that's incredibly tough. So that's awesome. Like, I love what they did with the Destroyer Lord, so he's actually usable and good now. And then all the named HQs got good. They're all cheaper. All of them are cheaper except for Sarah's, but he was dirt cheap anyway. I mean, Zandrak he better represents being a general in pretty much every sense of the word. Like, he really, really does. Oberon, I was upset at because I'm like, oh, he lost a wound. His Ghost Walk Mantle's a 1-use only. But at the same time, he still has his 2+ save. And then he has a save after that. And then even if you ignore it, he still has a save before he dies. I'm like, okay, I can understand that. And then he's all challenge-based, which, when you think about it, Necrons are very honorable. They have a code of combat that they follow, typically, which is actually one of their tactical objectives, I think. So they are all about challenges. So a lot of their special rules affecting challenges now makes a lot of sense. So, but then when you see the price tag for Oberon, like, he's 120 points. How's that bad? Like, that's actually really good. Orican the Diviner's a beast. I want him. GW's been out of him, so I haven't been able to order him. He was the only named character that I did not have. And now he's the one named character that I want. But yeah, I plan on using him in some Lich Guard with my Overlord. I'm not going to go full Orican Star. If you guys are familiar with that is, it's pretty much Orican teleporting him across the board, and then you have like a Cryptek with the Staff of Light, or the Solar Staff in there, to make them invisible, and then you have like full 10 Lich Guard, that, with 3+ invulns, rerolling 1s, and they shred through everything. I'm not going to do that, but, I mean, I do want Orican because he is fun. Illuminator Sayers is just as good as he was. If anything, he better represents what he is in the fluff. He gained Fear, and his weapon now has Lance. Small changes, but I think he deserved them. Trazen's actually good. Before he was useless. His big selling point was that he was a scoring unit. Well, boy, with 7th edition, doesn't matter. So he was useless, in my opinion. Now his weapon is actually cool. Anrakir didn't... Actually, I don't think Anrakir changed at all. Besides getting his Warlord trait, which better helps the whole I'm a space pirate. But, I mean, honestly, I used him in one game, and I nicknamed him Iron Man now. Because he basically just, like, came up over a hill, and, like, you saw a Chimera, and he was like, I need to kill that because his warlord was in it. I had the tactical objective to do so. So he's just like exploded the Chimera and made his warlord run off the board. I'm like, yeah. So that was fun. But who else is there? Imhotep is a Lord of War. I mean, he gets that out of just, he deserves it because he is the Newcron Lord of War. I don't think he's as good as all the other Lords of War. Because, I mean, Drago is an auto-include in any Grey Knight army. Auto-include, absolutely. Dante is definitely good. Logan is good. Even Gazgul. I mean, people say Gazgul sucks, but I'm like, I don't know. I mean, he's not bad. He's not bad at all. But then, like, I sat down and thought about it some more. Imhotep is the first of his kind. Every single other Lord of War is a close combat character. Imhotep is not. He actually has a good shooting attack, and he has 3 other tactical uses. Warlord trait that lets you manipulate reserve rolls and seize the initiative. He helps out flayed ones. He starts the game as night fighting. And then, I mean, that's good. He's a support HQ with a shooting attack. He's not a close combat monster, which is awesome. The other thing that I was upset about is that he doesn't have 4 wounds in Eternal Warrior. Why not? Like, the Necrons, the toughest guys in the galaxy, don't get 4 wounds in Eternal Warrior, but yet Dante, Mr. does. I mean, what? But then I actually looked at it and I'm like, well, he is susceptible to instant death. But if things that have instant death, you want to avoid with him anyway. And when you think about it, he only has 3 wounds, but he still has the 2+, the 4+ invulnerable save. And then he has easy access to a 4+ reanimation protocols. None of the other guys have that. And then he actually comes with a will not die. He's actually just as hard to kill, if not harder, actually. Because you can put him in Lich Guard or something like that, and he just, good luck killing him. But overall, I like what they did with him, because he's more usable. I like his shooting attack. I love AP2. We don't have a lot of AP2 in Necron, so it's definitely good. So then, I guess troops, the Warriors and Immortals, they didn't change. I mean, other than they became more resilient, obviously, like everything in Necrons did, they didn't change. Which I'm okay. Well, Warriors, you have to take 10. That matters, because I used to actually put guys in the Ghost Arcs with them. Now you can't do that. But I'm still okay with it, because they're essentially... Fluff-wise, why would you take a unit of 5 warriors? You wouldn't do that. That's reserved for the Immortals. So, I'm okay with that. I'm certainly okay with that. And then again, the Immortals didn't change, but I mean, comparatively speaking, they're still outrageous. Like, imagine an entire squad of Space Marines that are Leadership 10, that have a 4+ Feel No Pain, and are carrying around rapid-fire heavy bolters that can kill vehicles. Comparatively speaking, that's pretty ridiculous, you know? And they're 17 points a model. What the hell? And then, but the troops weren't the issue. First off, the elites section. Lich Guard, I loved the models. I loved the ideal behind them. Before I had them painted, everything. I just never used them. They were way too expensive. They died easily. Now they're one of the most resilient units in the codex. Excuse me. The dispersion shield's deflecting ability, yeah, that's not as cool as it was, but no one in their right mind would stay within 6 inches. Hello? That's dumb, so you never got to use it. The fact that it's just now straight up a 3+ invulnerable save makes sense, because it's freaking bigger than a storm shield. I mean, come on. There you go. 3+ invulnerable save, simplified, much better in my opinion. And then, like, they're so much cheaper. Like, you can field them, and they don't die, and you didn't spend a ton of points on them. Come on. Yes! And then, same thing with Praetorians. Not only did they get cheaper, they got better in every single way. And, I mean, people online have argued that they still just take Wraiths. Just, spam Wraiths, you know, whatever. No. If I want something to die, I take Praetorians. Praetorians will kill them in close combat. Like, I was the same game I played against Dustin, with the Destroyer Lord holding up the Bloodthirster. I had 2 5-man units of Praetorians. Take on pretty much 7 or 8 Fleshhounds and Karanak, and they took like no casualties until the Bloodletters, a small squad of Bloodletters, because I shot most of them, they charged in. They were able to kill maybe 1 or 2 of them, but the entire squad just wiped them all out, like with ease. And I'm like, huh, alright. And then 2 of the Voidblade Praetorians took on a Blood Throne, the chariot thing, and they ended up dying, but they tied it up for like 2 full turns. And they actually, I think they did a hull point to it as well. So, oh, and they killed its cannon. Yep, they killed its cannon. So it was pretty much useless at that point. Anyway, so I was satisfied with them. They are awesome. The models are cool, fluff-wise they're pretty neat, and I can actually use them effectively now. I'm happy. Death marks are still good. I loved death marks before. I can't tag team them with the Triarch Stalker anymore. Sad face, I guess. But I mean, they did get nerfed, and I was never one of those people that used it with the AP1 Flamer template because that's dumb. But I mean, I do agree that they needed to be nerfed, so they did take a hit there. But I mean, they're cheaper anyway, so what's the big deal? They still do the same thing, plus their interception ability now represents what it does in the fluff. That is the coolest part of it to me. Like, because now we essentially have interceptors without having interceptors. And that is awesome, in my opinion. So, Death Marks, definitely awesome. The Triarch Stalker is roughly the same, it just got cheaper, and you can bring them in squadrons. That's awesome. I'm going to say that a lot. I'm going to say awesome a lot. I actually want to get one of them with each of the weapons and run like a full squad of 3 and then like full 10-man units of Praetorians and just have a blast because it's awesome. What else is in the elite section? Flayed ones. We all know Flayed ones. We all know Flayed ones are awesome now. They're so good. I mean, they only changed them like this much. They didn't change much about them at all. They have a melee weapon now, and it has a profile. That's it. So that slight change, and they're now the scariest close combat unit point for point in the game. Like, what? So yeah, obviously I had to go out and buy a ton of those. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say about them. They resemble their fluff a lot. Excuse me, a lot better. That was the biggest thing that, like, I would have gotten them in the old codex and tried them out. It was the thing that everything in the codex was bland and lacked the flavor that I felt it needed. Flayed ones the most. They were literally just warriors with more attacks and no guns. That's it. Oh, and they deep strike. Woo! Yeah. Now their weapon actually chops things to bits, and they have fear. I don't care if fear is a useless rule. They have it, and it makes sense for them to have it. So, I mean, that just makes me happy that they have that, because they should. Period. And then the Catan Shards, they're still not competitive good. I wouldn't use them against a Serpent spam list, or I would definitely use them against Grey Knights. Oh, yeah, like Dragostar, please come near me. Come on. Please. The Nightbringer is good. The Nightbringer, like, I don't like how squishy they are still, but the Nightbringer actually has all of his flavor back. He's scary. He is. His Gaze of Death is phenomenal. And the Catan powers, I don't like the randomness of them. I don't think anyone does. From what I've seen online. I mean, I've looked over the powers. All of them are awesome. Again, there's that word, awesome. They all have special rules. A lot of the Transcendent Catan's powers were there, and they now actually explain what they do when the Catan shoots it, so there's more fluff background for you. It's just, I feel like you should have generated them like psychic powers, and then like, oh, you generate 2 at the start of the game, and then you can just choose to shoot one of them during the shooting phase. I feel like they should have done that, so you at least know what you're shooting and what you have to work with. Now, that being said, I have had some good turnouts. I mean, here's a big blob of dudes, and here's, you know, 3 large blast barrages that just put a ton of wounds through. Or there was a bunch of demons hiding in a ruin, and I got the ignores cover one. That was pretty nice. And then, oh yeah, turn 1 against orcs, the Nightbringer shot the strength D at a Death Dread, and I think blew off one of his weapons. So, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. So, sometimes you can get lucky. The Deceiver is good. I don't like the fact that he can't regain wounds. Like, I guess I'm pampered now with the Nightbringer, because it makes up for how squishy they are, because they die to bolt guns, or assault cannons, or anything with massed firepower will kill them. And that's what I hate about them, because they cost the same as a Wraith Knight, but they die to bolt guns. The Deceiver, I don't know how to use him effectively. I know he tag teams well with the Nightbringer because of his leadership debuff. I just don't know how to use him. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's bad at all. I don't think he's as usable, though. He's not quite as good. But he's fun. He has his own flavor. So I do want to play a more casual list running both of them, because if anything, I can say that they are actually very, very fun to play. They're not top-tier competitive, obviously, but they're not bad. They're definitely good, and they're fun. So, that's the biggest thing you can hope for, honestly. At least what I would hope for. And then, I think that's actually it for the elites. So, fast attack. Night Scythes and Ghost Arcs. The Night Scythe got more expensive, but now it actually costs appropriately what it's supposed to cost. And it's still the best flying transport in the game. You can't argue that. It's still awesome. The Ghost Arc, I've seen a lot of confusion, and I've seen a lot of hate towards it, saying that it's more OP than the Wave Serpent, and I'm like, that's a whole nother argument, but no, it's not. But it is good. They made it better. You have to keep in mind that it only really affects warriors ever. That's all it does. It buffs warriors, but it makes things like the Silver Tide a lot more effective. So it got cheaper. I like what they did with the Gauss Flare Arrays. Their salvo. I like saying that I have a salvo weapon in my codex now. And it doesn't hurt itself. So I already used Ghost Arcs and I liked them. Now they're even better. Okay, sure. Then Tomb Blades. I like the models, I do. I liked the ideal behind them. They are completely different than what I'm used to playing. I'm used to playing a very slow AV-13 wall. There you go. Tomb Blades are awesome. I had 3 of them, and I modeled them. I don't worry about the upgrades, because the upgrades, I don't even know what the upgrades look like, much less like what they do on the model itself, so I don't care about the upgrades as much. But I keep them WYSIWYG with the guns, and I modeled mine with Gauss Blasters. And they just weren't usable in the old codex. They were way too expensive. My biggest gripe was that you could only take 5 in a unit, and they came in 3 to a box. So I would have 1 left over that I can't use. So I never bought more. But now they might be slightly undercosted, to be completely honest, but I still think they're appropriately costed, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone argued that they're undercosted. I could see it. But the fact is that, everything pretty much does the same on them. They're more resilient, obviously. You can take more of them in a unit. That is the biggest thing that I really was hoping for. But the addition of Ignores Cover. Because I knew the fluff behind the Nebula Scope, and the fluff is still there in the new codex. Ignores Cover fits it so much better. And that's a big concern. Plus, Ignores Cover, AP4 Gauss, that's something that really helps Necrons out. like against skimmers, against scouts, against Tyranids, like with, like the way I would play Tyranids. Before, I had no idea how I deal with that. Now, Tomb Blades. There you go. They have a niche that they fill. And then even the particle beamers are really good for hordes. And the Tesla weapons, I actually want to get some of them and model them with shadow looms and Tesla carbines. And have them just cap objectives and stay 24 inches away in cover. And have them play completely differently than my other ones who have to run up close. So there's a lot of different things you can do with them. And they're fun! I have a jet bike unit that's now actually usable. Like, I actually went out and bought another box. I have 6 of them now. And I've run them around to cap objectives. I mean, they've been a lot of fun. And they've been very effective. So, I can't really complain. And then, what else is in fast attack? Destroyers. Destroyers are awesome. They are so much fun. They are very tough to deal with. And I think the Destroyer Cult is probably one of the most fun formations that are in the book. So, yeah, they really didn't even change him that much. They gave him 1 wound. And I know I said that I wouldn't actually go over everything that changed in the codex, but I feel like if I'm going to explain what I like about them, I'm just going to go over the basics anyway. I'm not going to break it down and be like, well, but, like, I realize that I'm still doing it anyway, but I feel like in order to explain why I like them and what they did with them, I have to explain what they kind of did with them. So, I know someone is probably going to point that out. But yeah, so I mean, they added a wound and their jetpack. It fits the model. The model itself does not feel like it should be a jump infantry. It just doesn't. Like, moving 12 and then shooting 24 inches, sure, that's good. But now that they're even tougher, they have access to move through cover, so they ignore terrain pretty much. And they can move, shoot something, and then move back to cap an objective at the end of the turn. Not only is that tactically good, that's more fun, and it just fits the model better. It just does. And the formation just shreds through anything. It's ridiculous. Like, Marine armies just die. Like, like, I need more heavy destroyers too. When GW gets more of those in stock, I'm ordering more heavy destroyers. Definitely. Because I only have 2. I want at least a 3-man unit, and then I want 1 in each of my other units. Because they're that good. Because then also AP2, Necrons need AP2. And then, of course, there's Scarabs. Scarabs got hit hard. I don't know why. I didn't use Scarabs that much. I never used Canoptic units that much altogether. Because there was very little reason for you to use them all together. I mean, for fun, I guess, but I don't know. But I mean, I do like what they did to Entropic Strike. Before, against fleshy targets, they might as well have not had it, because it would never do anything. And then against vehicles, it was kind of too good. Now they've simplified it into melee Gauss. But they can now effectively tar pit anything in the game, and they can also hurt anything in the game. So it gives them more versatility, which I like. And all in all, they were nerfed, like, worse save, more expensive, but, I mean, they're not bad. They're definitely not bad by any means. And then, of course, there are Wraiths. There are Wraiths. You guys have seen some battle reports. I have used Wraiths before. I used them with a Destroyer Lord begrudgingly. I hate that combo. I hate that people did that. But I did it to see what it was like. Because, I mean, you can't just not play that and see what it's like. Come on. You can't really effectively put a Destroyer Lord with them anymore, which I like. I like that. You can't really effectively do that. So, but Wraiths, they gave them fleet, because they are beasts now. And they're toughness 5. They're toughness 5. Other than that, they didn't change. They stayed exactly the same. Oh no, they actually fully ignore terrain now. Before, it was just they're not slowed by terrain, and they automatically pass dangerous terrain tests. Now, they treat it as open ground. So I know that there's a lot of debate going on whether or not they strike at initiative when they charge through terrain. My interpretation of the wording is yes, they do. Read as written. When you charge, you make what is called a charge move. Therefore, you follow all the restrictions and penalties or buffs from the movement phase. Therefore, you're charging through terrain. That model did not charge through terrain. It is open ground to that model. And then also, apparently the Las Vegas Open actually used that ruling, so that kind of helps further my argument. But again, until we get an FAQ, we can't know for sure. Just like the Gaze of Death from the Nightbringer, can that hit a flying monstrous creature? Read as written, yes it can. Can it shoot in and out of combat? Yes it can. And people disagree with that, but I'm like, they worded it that way for a reason. They did. They worded the immune to natural law and wraith flight, they worded those specifically for a reason. So that's the way I play it, that's the way we play it. Steven was the one that actually brought it up, and he's our rules guru. So I'm like, well, if Steven thinks so, then I'm definitely gonna go for it. But yeah, so all in all, Wraith's got like, what, 5 points more expensive? I think they could have gone for 10 to 15 points more expensive. But, I mean, obviously they're still good. There's nothing wrong with them. In all honesty, because we're on the whole, like, if it fits the fluff, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the changes, mainly because them, like, look at them. They're the size of, like, 3 Space Marines put together. Being toughness 5 is not out of this league. Like, that makes sense. And the fact that they're beasts makes a lot of sense. They are very nimble. They, like, phase through things. I mean, why would they not have fleet? Okay. Very reasonable changes, but they could have not done that, and I don't think anyone would have complained. Like, Wraiths were already good. But, I mean, I'm not complaining, because toughness 5 Wraiths. I think that's it for the fast attack. I think that is all we have in the fast attack slots. Yeah. So then, heavy supports. The heavy destroyers can now be taken as their own unit. That's just good in general. The heavy destroyers got cheaper, and again, they got more resilient. So that actually means that we have a reliable AP2 that we can bring. Like, they're actually a pretty good heavy support option now. I've seen a lot of people online think the same thing. So that's why I want more of them. The Doom Scythe, they simplified the ruling. It doesn't have its special, like, thing anymore. But what they did with it, I think it still makes a lot more sense. The fact that it has Lance, so it literally vaporizes infantry and vehicles alone, that literally does exactly what it specifies in its fluff. So, I mean, it's still good, and it actually got cheaper, if anything, so, I mean, can't really complain. The Doomsday Arc, it never performs well for me. I've used it 2 or 3 times ever, once with the new codex, and it just didn't do well for me. It always scatters off. Or, like, I think I have to play more aggressively with it. That's what I'm going to try next time I do it. Because I actually got another Annihilation Barge, and I'm going to model that one with the weapon that I want on it. And the one that I have now that's painted, it doesn't really fit the paint scheme of the rest of my vehicles, so I'm probably just going to, like, put it in a shoebox and not look at it. And I'm going to, because my other one I still need to paint, so I'm just going to paint 2 of them at the same time. WYSIWYG, because the other one I have painted has a Tesla cannon on it, which is not useful. But yeah, so the Doomsday Arc, it's good. It got better. I mean, Strength 10 AP1 primary weapon, that's ridiculous. That resembles a very, very powerful gun, which is what it is. And then, of course, the flare arrays got better. It only got 5 points cheaper, though. I thought it could have used a little bit more of a price heap, like a price jump from there, but I'm not going to complain. It's not that big of a deal. The Monolith, I actually have some things to say about the Monolith, if you will bear with me. The Monolith, I've seen a lot of people online complaining that it got nerfed, and it still sucks. I feel like people are looking at the Monolith the wrong way. I was one of the people that wanted the Monolith to get better. Technically, 2 out of 3 categories it did get better. but it did get hit kind of hard too. It didn't gain anything. Like if anything, it lost its Eternity Gates ability. You can't use it when it deep strikes, and it doesn't have the suck up ability. Like Strength Test or just die. But then again, they removed a lot of those anyway. Yeah, like the transdimensional beamer used to do that, but that's another. Yeah, I want wraiths with transdimensional beamers. Like, just to go kind of backwards here, like, that's what I would run wraiths with now. Because that weapon is actually good. So, yeah, I want more of those. Because, I mean, instant death and always pinning, like, that not only, again, represents what it does, but it is also much better than its previous incarnation. Plus, wraiths have access to Relentless, so it does actually matter for them to have it. But no, again on the monolith. So I mean, yeah, the gate got nerfed, but when you think about it, living metal got better. So if it's part of the Reclamation Legion or the Decurion in general, it just ignores half the vehicle damage chart. I mean, how's that bad? It's the same cost as a Land Raider. No, I'm sorry, it's 40 points cheaper than a Land Raider. Same armor, same hull points. It can move and fire all of its weapons, unlike the Land Raider. But then you'd say, okay, well, yes, the Particle Whip, you have to snap fire everything. The Monolith is not a heavy weapons platform. Just like the Land Raider is not a gunboat for Space Marines. It is a transport. The Monolith is a huge tactical advantage that you have. You can deep strike it over on the other side of the board, have your guys over here killing whatever they need to kill, and then late game, come out of the portal on an objective. But, I mean, like, people look at it and they want it to just kill everything it touches. And, I mean, Land Raiders don't have battle cannons. That is one thing. And then they're the little teeny, like, you know, guns. I have little teeny arms. They got better. They're strength 5, AP 4. That's actually one of the upgrades that I thought that they should do. Because I'm like, why is it a Gauss Flare? That's not terrifying in the slightest. Now it's actually kind of good. If they were Gauss cannons, that'd be pretty awesome. But that's too much. But no, I mean, all in all, it did get buffed because, I mean, again, now it has a 6+, it will not die. That's actually mattered. In the 2 games I've used it, it has gotten hull points back. And it also hasn't been killed. Because, like, out of all those upgrades, I mean, think about it as a cheaper Land Raider. Okay, cheaper Land Raider. With a 6-bit will not die, ignores half the vehicle damage chart, and can teleport anything in your army to wherever you want on the board. Now, you can't just throw it into a list and have it perform well. You do have to kind of build around it. But considering we can now manipulate reserve rolls with a Warlord trait, I mean, that became a lot better. And then the Living Tomb formation, I'm actually looking forward to trying it again, because it's like precision striking drop pods, or monoliths per se, and that's like what, 2 to 3 AV-14 vehicles. Do you know how many armies can't deal with that easily? A lot of armies can't deal with that easily. So that is like a scare tactic of, here's an entire silver tide, and then these drop in your face. Not many people can do anything about that. And that's the other thing, is that the monolith got indirectly better because foot-slogging armies got stronger. So now you can have just nothing but infantry, and then you have these, which even fluff-wise, they go with the infantry, and they teleport them places. Like, that not only makes a lot of fluff sense, but monoliths work. You just have, like, don't expect it to kill everything it touches. That's the big thing. Like, you have options. You can either fire a battle cannon, or you can fire a couple Gauss shots to kill that, you know, Land Raider or something. So you have versatility with it. Like, I've thought of getting a second one just to go for the Living Tomb. I mean, it is an amazing model. It's fun to paint, and it would look really cool on the table. So, like, everyone's saying the monolith sucks. I kindly disagree. Again, it's not the most stellar unit, but it has a lot of really good use. So enough on the monolith, though. Heavy supports. A Canoptic spiders didn't change, really. Their Scarab Hive got better. They can be engaged in close combat. The Scarabs can be engaged in close combat. They can move before doing it. So that got better. They're still the cheapest monstrous creature in the game, and their upgrades got cheaper. Plus, they all got better. Like, well, technically, they just took the FAQ for the Fabricator Claws and they just put it on the Fabricator Claws. They did that in the FAQ in the last book. But the Gloom Prism is actually useful now. In fact, I actually still have the bits to my spiders. I kind of want to just prime it, paint it, and then glue it on. Like, hey, they all have Gloom Prisms now. And the Particle Beamer got substantially cheaper. So, I mean, it was kind of expensive for a Particle Beamer. I won't lie. It was like 25 points. That was a bit much. But yeah, so heavy supports, I think that's pretty much it. As far as that goes. I don't think there's anything I missed. Oh, the Annihilation Barge. The Annihilation Barge. I have 2 of them. Well, technically I have 3 now. I haven't assembled one, but I had 2. I used 2 because it was really good. I don't like what they did with it. It is the one thing that I will admit, like, comparatively to other codexes, no, it's not bad. It's pretty good. For a heavy support, though, it got more expensive, and they nerfed Tesla. The main selling point of it in the old book was that you could fire at flyers at it, and you could jink and still fire effectively. That was its selling point. If you take that away, no wonder people don't want to use it. It doesn't do anything else that you can't find elsewhere in the codex. Like now, just spend 10 points more, bring a Night Scythe. Because you have a Tesla Destructor. Like, you're a slow skimmer, okay, that's open-topped. It's not even a transport, so it's just directly bad if you get a pen. If you jink, you're effectively not doing anything, which, granted, that's like everything else in the game itself. Yes, I know that. But everything else in the game, when it's not jinking, has awesome firepower. Like, would I rather have an Annihilation Barge or a Fire Prism? I'd rather have a Fire Prism. Even though most people don't consider the Fire Prism useful, I'd rather have a Fire Prism. So it's got its Twin-Link Tesla Destructor, which is on a slow skimmer, which is 24-inch range. AP nothing, 4 shots. They even took away the arc. Like, granted, the arc almost never did anything, but, like, make it another rule. Or something. I don't know. Like, it just... The secondary weapon doesn't matter. Unless you just don't move to fire it. But if you don't move to fire, the opponent can just stay out of your range. Because almost everyone else has longer range stuff than we do. So, I mean... Like, it's just not a very attractive option anymore. It just doesn't seem to... I mean, it is tough. It is still armor value 13, but I'll use it in casual games, but I don't see it as a very good unit, comparatively speaking. Like, I would rather just bring a Night Scythe, or I would rather spend my points on literally anything else in the codex. If I was going for a more competitive approach. In a fun game, sure, why not? I mean, I bought another one for a reason. Mainly because I wanted the Overlord so I can kit bash him, but so that being said, everything else in the codex. The relics are amazing. The Orb of Eternity is not really useful if you're not using the Decurion detachment. Or no, it's only useful if you're not using the Decurion detachment. Sorry, I worded that wrong. Other than that, all the other relics, while some of them are overpriced, Nightmare Shroud, they're all good. Like, the Veil of Darkness. Veil of Darkness still does exactly what it does before. You can actually now just Deep Strike with something, so that's pretty cool. You can actually put a Cryptek or an Overlord or, something like that with Flayed Ones or Death Marks. Yeah, you can do that, even though the Cryptek you technically could before. But, and then of course it now works while you're in close combat, but you can only do it once. So basically you Deep Strike someone with Flayed Ones, and they're on this side of the board, rampaging through things, because that's what Flayed Ones do, they just eat things. And then late games, you can't tar pit them, they'll just get out of that combat and go on an objective. There you go. So there's that. Let's see, what else was there? The solar staff is so inexpensive. Like, I use that in like every game. Any game that I bring a royal court, I'm using the solar staff. So it's ridiculous. Like, I love that relic so much. Which is why I like bringing cryptex, because I like just a cryptech wielding it, like... and the fact that it has blind, special rules, like, that was the biggest complaint in the old Newcron codex, was just special rules. We didn't have special rules. I wanted special rules. I wanted special rules so badly. But now we have it. We have them. Special rules. A lot of things got more rules. Of course, our relics did. The Void Reaper, again, like... I mean, come on. Like, I love it. Like, it's amazing. Like, this guy runs around with the Void Reaper. Just... yeah, I mean, both of those relics are awesome, and I use them pretty much all the time. The Gauntlet of the Conflagrator is good. I don't use it very frequently, but it is pretty awesome. I mean, a Strength 7 AP2 template is gonna do damage. I mean, it's gonna do damage. The Orb of Eternity, you know, we already know. The Nightmare Shroud is the one relic that I will say is probably the least attractive. Because it is literally, you're paying 35 points for a 2+ armor save. That's what you're paying for. The other effects don't matter. You're paying for a 2+ armor save. If I really wanted to make my Destroyer Lord that tough, maybe. Because it's the only way we can get it now. You've suckered us into it, but... I don't know. Not liking it. Nope. Not liking it. But while we're on that, the rest of the war gear, as I said, the phylacteries and everything, the Mind Shackle Scarabs, as a game effect, I feel like it fits a lot more. Like, if you take its effect and you actually think about it, these scarabs that are burrowing into your head, you know, and they're taking control of your cognitive functions, and you're trying to fight back, you know, and you fail to successfully fight back. You shouldn't smack yourself in the face. You can't effectively fight whatever it is that you're fighting. So weapon skill 1. If they had worded it as that, without it actually being the fear special rule, would have been fine. That would have been a great thing to have. Still would have been an auto-include, most likely. Now it's the fact that, well, okay, that's a piece of war gear that literally almost everything in the game ignores. It's not that it's bad. I mean, technically it's better, because the fear affects the entire unit. Before it was only one model. Now it's your whole unit's weapon skill 1. But who does that affect? Tau? We don't need help in close combat against Tau. Orcs? Orcs, maybe. Maybe could do something against orcs. Imperial Guard? Don't need help in close combat. Dark Eldar early on in the game? Again, don't really need help in close combat. Not really. I mean, it wouldn't help us enough for it to matter, and then late game it just doesn't matter anyway. Like during crunch time, they're immune to it anyway. So, whatever. The phylactery, or the phase shifter got nerfed, but it's also much cheaper, so I'm okay with it. But again, the 4+ Feel No Pain, I'm sorry, reanimation protocols, kind of offsets the 4+ invulnerable save. Because even against instant death, you still get a 5-up save after that. So. What other war gear is there? The Tachyon Arrow didn't really change. I mean, it's better now that our Overlords hit on a 2 instead of a 3, because I don't think I ever did anything with a Tachyon Arrow before, besides miss. So, it's not bad. The Gauntlet of Fire... Gauntlet of Fire, you can take with a melee weapon. You can actually give your guy with the Void Reaper, like, a gauntlet and have him have a ranged attack. That's awesome. I typically always do that as well. So that is definitely a good change. And then the melee weapons. Before, it was either 3 AP3 shots, or you can, you know, take a melee AP3, or you could spend 10 points for a War Scythe and or Void Blade, and by that I mean War Scythe, because who took a Void Blade? Now the Void Blade is better. It's a free upgrade. And it's like, do you just want AP3 across the board? Or do you want slightly worse AP, but a chance at better AP? For free. Not a bad weapon. Huh. And you can fight walkers with it. There you go. But no, so... I think that's pretty much it as far as the war gear goes. The warlord traits are awesome. All of them are good. I mean, some of them are more desirable than others, obviously. Like, I personally love Zealot on my Overlord with a unit of Lich Guard. Yes, please. Also, they won't get overrun. That's also always a plus. The Honorable Combatant is very fluffy. It is very good. Hyperlogical Strategist was just Emotech's special rule changed into a Warlord trait, but again, it's good. Implacable Conqueror is, on Rakir. That's what he does. And then, of course, the 12-inch bubble of reroll, failed morale, pinning, and fear checks. That makes us pretty much immune to most things, as far as leadership goes, because we're already leadership 10. And then Eternal Warrior as a Warlord trait, that can't be good or anything like that. But that is one thing I forgot, the Catacomb Command Barge. It is not as killy as it once was. I did forget from the HQ section. It's not like this is an auto-include because this will just kill everything. No, because you have to be more cautious with it, and they took away most of its special rules except they gave it one, which is the biggest deal ever. The fact that, like, the Command Barge is supposed to be your overlord, floating around, like, over the battlefield, commanding your units, doing what an overlord is supposed to do, and occasionally intervening when he needs to fight. So now he actually has a buff. He supports your army by doing the same thing as that warlord trait, 12-inch bubble of reroll, failed morale, pinning, and fear checks. And it has worked. It has done stuff. And then, even then, now that he's BS5, just keeping him with the Staff of Light, which is his symbol of royalty and everything, and then putting a Gauss Cannon on there and just having it, float around 12 inches every turn, chucking out 5 Strength 5 AP3 shots. That's gonna kill some stuff. So I mean, in the War Scythe, you can still have him go around and kill vehicles, but I'd rather actually use him as a synergistic unit to buff my army as it walks forward, which he should be doing fluff-wise anyway. So again, yes. But back to the Warlord traits. So, what else did I miss? Zealot. I think that's it. I don't think I missed any of them, but they're all good. Like, how many codexes can say that all their warlord traits are good? Or, like, they wouldn't mind getting any of those warlord traits. Yeah, exactly. And then, last but not least, the Decurion detachment. The biggest thing about, like, every 7th edition codex has gotten their own detachments. Orcs was the first one where they were kind of delving into it. They're like, hey, you can bring an extra troop and then you get, like, Hammer of Wrath. Yeah. And then every other codex, they started doing more and more with it. I don't actually remember what the Space Wolf one is. The Blood Angels, I think, was very simple. It was they get +1 weapon skill, or no, +1 initiative on the charge. And then Grey Knights was actually much bigger. They get to start rolling for reserves turn 1, and when they arrive from Deep Strike, they can run and shoot. That's some pretty nice benefits right there. The Dark Eldar one had something to do with night fighting, but again, night fighting sucks now, so, But the Necrons were the first, and I think currently the only one. Like, Harlequins didn't even do this. The Khorne Demonkin, I don't think theirs is going to be set up like this, but I mean, a lot of the ones from Necrons on are getting formations in their codex, which Dustin actually said that he doesn't really care for formations. He thinks that they're free special rules. Like, why would you not play with them? Well, I personally think formations are the greatest thing to happen to the game, because it reduces min-maxing, or helps to reduce it at least. I mean, you can still bring a minimum formation, but it helps reduce min-maxing. It makes you want to bring other models to get other benefits, which that's the tax, kind of, you could say. And it gives you benefits if you play things together as they're meant to be in fluff. That's what formations are supposed to represent, like the Canoptic Harvest. You know, yes, you can bring Wraiths, but you also have to bring the other Canoptic units that are supposed to work with it on the battlefield. And then if you do, look at that, you get a bonus about them working together. Whoop-de-doo. Like, how's that bad? So I think formations are a great thing to happen. The fact that Necrons have them all in their codex, I think they were the first ones to do that. I don't think the Blood Angels had formations in their codex. But anyway, so all of the formations are good. Some of them are a little more meh than the other ones, like the Annihilation Nexus. Again, that's mainly just because the Annihilation barges aren't very attractive, but otherwise it's not a bad formation. But the detachment itself and how it's set up is the greatest thing ever. It took me a while. I actually had to get Steven, and I'm like, alright, am I understanding this right? How does this work again? Like, as far as the detachment goes? Like, why would I use this over a Combined Arms detachment? But basically, you are playing a Necron force. You are playing a full-fledged, an overlord tells his advisors to get my army ready, we're going to war. You're playing that. Like, a fluff-based army, and you get crazy good benefits for it. That's why every game I've played has been a DakkaDakka detachment. Hands down. It's like... so, sorry about that. Had a little bit of an interruption. So anyway, where was I? But the DakkaDakka. So the fact that you get really good benefits. A lot of people have been complaining about it on the internet. Because I keep up on it on DakkaDakka. If anyone's on DakkaDakka and you want to add me just to kind of chat, things like that, ask me questions, I can actually just post my username on there, add me, send me a message, say hey, what's up. You might have seen me post around before, but yeah, I'm on there pretty much all the time. If I'm at work and it's slow, I'm probably on DakkaDakka just checking up on things. But a lot of people are complaining about the DakkaDakka, and I don't even know if it's the DakkaDakka itself, because the thing is that when you think about it, right, Grey Knights, if they adhere to their detachment, they get to roll for reserves on turn 1, and they get to run and shoot when they do that, you know, deep strike thing. Blood Angels get +1 initiative on the charge the entire game. Necrons, their vehicles also ignore crew stunned, which they don't normally do. And everything gets a +1 to reanimation. That's it. Now, granted, that's it, yeah. It's a big bonus. It is a huge durability boost. But, I mean, we can get that outside of the DakkaDakka. We have ways to get Relentless and all that stuff. Now, I don't know if it's that itself, or if it's the fact that on top of that, you get all of the additional benefits of the formations. Excuse me, like the Reclamation Legion giving move through cover and Relentless. Now, first off, I have to say that is the coolest thing ever. Like, those are two very not widely used special rules, from what I've seen. But giving it to Necron infantry helps paint the picture of Necrons. It helps imagine, like, the implacable advance of just machine warriors that shoot you, they walk over you, and they just keep going. That's what Necrons do. And they're not very overpowered rules, and if anything, they're on really crappy, like, close combat infantry, but it's still nice to have, and it's very fluffy, and that's why I like it. It's just awesome. But, I mean, people need to understand that the DakkaDakka is very restrictive. Very restrictive. Like, some people can't play them because they don't have Tomb Blades. And if they didn't buy Tomb Blades within, like, you know, a week of the Codex, they can't get them because they've been out of stock. So, I mean, that is a huge downside, per se. And then you can't bring just, I want to bring a unit of destroyers. You can't do that. You have to bring a destroyer cult. So it is very restrictive, but the benefits of it are really, really good. So, I mean, honestly, I love the DakkaDakka. I probably will never play anything other than the DakkaDakka, just because of how fluffy it is, how good it is, and it's just, it makes me feel like I'm playing Necrons, and that is the biggest thing. We have our own flavor, our own fluff, our own playstyle now. Like, again, I used to play AV-13 Wall. Like, who was it? Was it Riku? Or was it, I think it was Craig. Yeah, Craig. You were like, how's my playstyle gonna change? Well, I have played a Ghost Ark, a Night Scythe, and that's pretty much the most that I've played in one list. I played the Annihilation Nexus once, wasn't really impressed with it, and then I played the Doom Scythe formation, but they got shot out of the sky before they could do anything, so I didn't get a good chance to feel for it. So, like, overall, I've been doing nothing but playing everything that I never played in the other book, and doing well with it. Like, as I've said on DakkaDakka many times, the Judicator Battalion mixed with a Destroyer Cult is a very lethal combo. I have one vehicle on my list, and I have annihilated everything I've shot at. With foot-slogging troops. Completely different than what I'm used to. And then having a lot of fast units, like jetpack infantry, jump infantry, jet bikes, all of those, it's completely new to me. And it's awesome. And then, like, having melee units that are good. Having rerolls on a lot of things, because a lot of things can just get rerolls. Like, I don't think I'll ever go back to just pure AV-13 wall. It's not as effective. It's not as points effective, anyway. And there's a lot more that this codex has to offer. So, I mean, you guys will see that in some of the games that I'll play in the next battle reports. But I don't think I will ever not play DakkaDakka, to be completely honest with you. Like, I do kind of feel bad because it is really, really powerful. But at the same time, I don't, because it's really, really fluffy. And when you look at it and you see Grey Knights, all right, and it's like, well, no one wants to play Grey Knights because, oh, Drago Star and, you know, Assassins and Dread Knights. They have to cheese out their list to be super, super good. Same thing with Blood Angels, like, you know, Dante with a bunch of Sanguinary Guard, or, you know, Asterath with a Death Company, like big blobs of those guys. Like, then again, I don't even really know what they do competitively, because we don't have a lot of Blood Angels players that play competitively around here. And then Space Wolves, Thunderwolf Cavalry, spam the crap out of those. Like, so you know those big named, like, units from each codex, that it's like, well, they're using a bunch of those, obviously they're trying to win. Necrons can play a casual list and do very well. Like, they don't have to cheese out their army to be very powerful. And that's what I like about it. I feel like I could play fun units and do well with them. So it's like, I want to play a casual game, you know, and you're going to bring that, oh crap, I'm kind of screwed. No, I'm not, because I still have a decent chance to do something. And that's awesome. Again, awesome. So, overall, I think the new Necron Codex, to sum it all up, the new Necron Codex is probably the best internally balanced codex I've ever seen GW put out. Now, granted, again, I've only been playing for about a year and a half, so I haven't seen all the older edition codexes. I don't know if there ever was anything that was better, but I don't think it could beat Necrons. And I've had a lot of people online agree with me that there's just so much, there's just beautiful balance across the entire codex. Everything resembles what it does in fluff. It's very fluffy. It has a lot of its own flavor. It didn't really lose a whole lot. It mainly just gained a whole lot. Completely forgot to backtrack. The heavy supports, the Transcendent Catan. The Transcendent Catan, and then the other Lords of War. The Transcendent Catan, people think it sucks compared to its old incarnation. And I kind of agree. It does suck compared to its old self. It's not a bad unit. I do plan on using it. It has the powers of the Catan. It has +1 strength and +1 wound, and it can deep strike. So it solves the whole being slow issue. So it can kind of get to where it needs to go and then get into close combat. And then I think the Writhing World's capability is just funny. I think it's a lot of fun, and I look forward to using it. So, but all in all, it's not bad. Just don't compare it to its old self. Again, please. So, it's kind of like we just got a new model. Oh, hey, look at that. They added a Transcendent Catan to our codex. Cool, what does that do? It's completely different, but it's not bad. And then the Obelisk is now more point efficient than 3 Annihilation Barges, and it brings essentially the same amount of firepower. It's also tougher, and they finally made it AV-14 instead of AV-12. Because, I mean, why is that weaker than a monolith? It's a Lord of War. Thank God it's AB-14 now. Its gravity pulse is okay. I mean, either way, it's overall it translates into it's still effective against flyers. I think it's funny that like a flyer could come across and then just roll a 1, and then basically have a chance of just falling out of the sky. That's pretty funny to me. But all in all, it got a lot cheaper and a lot better, so it's definitely good. The Tesseract Vault is overall cheaper, and it's very well balanced for regular games. But it sucks in Apocalypse, because now we don't have anything that is Apocalypse ready to take on, like, you know, anything we might fight. So, I mean... But again, it's not bad. I do want to get one. Kind of. I don't really want... I'm looking forward to painting it. But, so, not really much to say about it. They're not bad. I do want to try them out, especially the Obelisk, because the formation's really nice. But anyway, okay, now that that's done. But overall, the Codex gets an A+ in my book. I have not enjoyed playing 40k this much in a very long time. Like, I've invested more into terrain, I've invested more into models. I'm actually, tonight, after this video, I'm going to start working on it, getting it uploaded. I'm gonna go paint my flayed ones. I have a whole night ahead of me. I'm gonna probably put on some mini wargaming, and you know, maybe keep up on some forums, and then I'm gonna paint. I'm gonna try and get my flayed ones, my Praetorians done. Yeah, and then after that, if I get most of my Necrons painted, I will start painting my Tyranids. I really want to get them done too, mainly the infantry. And then there are some Tyranids I would like to buy in the future, but right now, I want to collect Necrons. I want to get as many Necrons as I want to. So yeah, hopefully I just don't become that guy that no one likes to play against, because Necrons are really, really powerful. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you watched this long, I'm pretty sure that you enjoyed yourself, otherwise you would have just quit the video. I mean, I'm not forcing you to watch this. But to just kind of sum up, remember, if you want to get something together with us, message us on YouTube, if you're in the area. I'm not going to put that down below, I'll just say it again. Newport News, Virginia. That is where we're located, and there is a store called World's Best Comics. That is where we go to play. If you guys want to challenge us, let us know through YouTube, and we'll try and set something up. Otherwise, again, if you want to talk to me, let me know on DakkaDakka. My screen name will be down below. Feel free to message me, say what's up. I mean, Craig, Riku, Hecatrix, I know you guys watch us and keep up with us. If you guys want to chat, let me know. If you guys have any questions, if you guys actually want to ask direct questions to me or anyone else that's part of the Adequate Wargamers, just leave it down below or send us a message, and we'll, like, that's another thing that this video is kind of supposed to do. Like, the Anything But series is supposed to be kind of like a Q&A. If we start getting enough people that want to ask us questions, then we'll start answering questions. So yeah, if you guys have anything you want to ask, if you want to see like painting tutorials, we can, I could try and do some of those. If you guys like some of the paint jobs on my Necrons, I can show you the really easy and cheesy way that I did it. So yeah, I mean, let us know what you guys want. Like, talk to us, we'll try and talk to you back. Again, I apologize, we haven't gotten a lot of battle reports out lately. Life happens, and I hate being the only one in the battle reports. So hopefully, you know, we'll get some other people in there other than me. You guys are sick of hearing my voice. But yeah, until then, just talk to us, let us know how you guys are doing, and we'll probably see you in the next battle report that we do. So you guys take it easy.